Fixing skinny fat really does suck. And it sucks because not only is it harder to lose body fat, because if you're skinny fat, you don't burn as many calories compared to someone that's got a lot more muscle. But it sucks because if you would try and go on a cut, you're just going to end up getting smaller because you've already got a lack of muscle. You've got excessive body fat. You want to get bigger, stronger, but leaner at the same time. So if you're going on a cut, you drop your calories down, you do loads of cardio, you'll probably end up a smaller version of skinny fat. And you're more than likely going to lose a bit more muscle. So then you'd probably be thinking to yourself, well, should I cut? Should I bulk? And you might think, well, if I'm skinny, I want to get some size, I'll go on a bulk. And if you were to eat in a calorie surplus for say a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever time frame you give yourself, you're probably going to gain more body fat. So the double chin, the side boob, the love handles, the belly, all the areas that you currently dislike that sort of put you in that skinny fat category will only grow and continue to increase alongside that bulk. And because there's a layer of fat on the muscles, you're not really going to see the muscles. So you're not going to know if you're actually gaining muscle or not. And some people go on a bulk, gain a bunch of fat, go on a cut, lose a bunch of fat, but end up having the same amount of muscle as when they started. So it kind of puts in this fat loss purgatory, as I call it, or the bro cycle of jumping between cuts and bulks. Fixing skinny fat is a difficult problem, and most of the fitness advice out there is detrimental to fixing skinny fat. Do loads of fat burning classes, do loads of cardio, do keto, do carnivore, cut out calories, cut out carbs. If you're skinny fat and you've tried these things, you already can probably relate to how frustrating this problem can be. So over the past few years, I've been sort of trying to fix it myself, right? I gained a bunch of muscle, but I also gained a bunch of fat. So I went on to a cut and dropped my calories down and started, chicken, broccoli and rice, no bad carbs, lots of cardio, lighter weights to get toned and avoid the injuries. And I just kind of shrunk and ended up like properly skinny fat. And I might put some pictures in, for example, you can see what I was working with. And it was very frustrating. So I'd panic and go back onto a bulk. And then 2 months in, I feel like crap again. And the double chin's getting worse. And I just looked the same, but fatter. So I'd go on a cut and I'd feel small and skinny. And I'm just like, what do I do? And then I realized, okay, we've got to be logical about this. I need to be specific with my calories. I need to be specific with my training. And I need to train how I want to look. So essentially, to cut through the noise, I started off with a recomposition to recomposition my body, lose body fat, keep and maybe gain muscle. Now, because I trained for so many years, it was very unlikely that I would gain muscle whilst doing the recomposition, but at least I was able to keep as much muscle as possible. A lot of guys will gain size and then go on a cut and lose a lot of size because they do things too extreme, calories are too low too soon, or their training style just changes, or they just get distracted and try and do all sorts of different styles of training like CrossFit and high rocks and 5k runs, etc. So I want to make this video to say, look, if you're skinny fat, I get it sucks, and I want to show you what I do to fix it and how I've helped over 216, I think it is, and counting guys lose body fat and keep muscle. And some guys, I always use Reese as an example because he's the poster child of it, but also still gain muscle. This is a full-on recomposition, but the disclaimer here is that did take 12 months. But there was no creatine, nothing wrong with creatine, but there was no creatine, there's no supplements apart from whey protein every now and again. There's very little cardio, if none at all. And there's no drugs, no peptides, no steroids, no TRT, just legitimate progress from just doing things right. Here's my transformation. I lost some body fat doing a recomposition. So how do you do recomposition? What is it? You probably already know, but let me explain how I go about doing it. Now, to fix skinny fat, the best thing to do is work out your calories. And I know you've probably seen this in every single video, and just knowing your calories doesn't guarantee you results. You have to stick to it, right? That's the hard part. And obviously that's why Reese hired me to help him go through it. But you need to know your numbers. As always, I've got a free nutritional blueprint for you to download so you can work out your numbers. This is not just a generic calculation. It's how I recommend you work out the numbers, things to consider and factor in so you can get the right calories, the right macros, where to start with your numbers, and then what adjustments to make. And the reason for that is if you just suddenly go online calculator, calorie deficit, bosh, 1800, 1600 calories, that might be too low too soon. And if it's too low too soon, the calorie deficit is huge. You might get a week, 2 weeks, and you feel okay. But when your body starts to run on empty, your body will go catabolic. You'll lose muscle tissue because the deficit is so large. You'll lose fat as well, but you will lose muscle tissue, which means you're just going to end up being a smaller version of skinny fat. So the solution here is we want to eat in a small calorie deficit, 500 calories below your maintenance thereabouts, and make sure that you're getting enough protein to repair and recover and boost performance in the gym. Now, there's a few ways to actually go about that. You can track your calories and make sure it's correct and be a bit flexible by using MyFitnessPal or a notepad or a carrier pigeon, whatever your method of logging data may be. Excel spreadsheet if you're crazy. That's one way to do it. The other option is you can get those numbers and reverse engineer it around a meal plan. So you can go, right, I have breakfast, I have lunch, I have dinner. I've got 2,000 calories, 2,000 divided by 3, or however you want to split it up, okay? It just needs to make sense for you and your schedule. All these influencers get like a wooden chopping board going, hey, have sausage and butter in your tea and all this weird stuff just to stand out on social media, just to look good, aesthetically pleasing, so they can get sponsorships. The bottom line is, if you don't like salmon and you've got a meal plan that says eat salmon, you're not going to stick to it. If it says have dry ass tuna fish out of the tin in your flipping office and stink out the place, it's just not going to work. You need to know what foods fit for you and your numbers. Me personally, I'm quite happy eating meat, so I will have chicken, I will have ground beef, Greek yogurts as we say in England. And I like having protein powder, right? There's nothing magical about it, just whey protein. It's powdered milk, it's convenient. If I don't get enough protein from the meats, I will have the protein powders. I just keep it simple and I just set those meals. And that's one way to do it. You can do a meal plan, or you can pick your meals to avoid the decision fatigue. Because if you give yourself too much freedom and go, all right, I got 2,000 calories, or I can eat whatever I want. In theory, yes. But then you're going to wake up and go, oh, do I want this? Do I want that? Eat this? Oh, I'm over. It's going to be exhausting trying to figure it out on a whim. You need some sort of structure so that it becomes a... Crikey, I don't know if you heard that. I got it on the sound thing, but someone's revving a Mustang. Very nice. Not the V6 version, the V8. Very, very nice. Anyway, just as he's burning fuel, you need to burn fuel as well. So onto the training side of things, a lot of guys, when they think about losing body fat, they think, right, I need to go running. I need to do some box jumps, star jumps, battle ropes, whatever. They just look fat loss workouts and they just do all this stuff. And those things are still great. You can still do those. But that should not be your main meat and potatoes. No food pun intended. That should be a supplement, also no pun intended, but that should be a supplement to the foundation of your training. And the foundation of your training should be strength based. Okay, without all the sciencey jargon, think about it logically. Our bodies adapt to what we put it through. So if you go to the gym and do loads and loads and loads of running, lots of light weights, and you're eating less food and you're already skinny at the start, you're not going to get big and you're not necessarily going to keep any muscle, right? But if you were to go in the gym and go, right, my goal here is to overload with strength. If I did, 200 pounds for 8 reps last week, I'm going to go for 200 pounds for 9 reps, or I'm going to go 225 pounds for 5 reps. There needs to be some form of overload for your body to be challenged and therefore get better through adaptation. So there needs to be a very simple, clear metric of overload. It doesn't need to be crazy. You don't need to be in the gym 2 hours doing 1,000 shoulder presses. Do shoulder press, 4 sets of 10, and add reps and or weight, and improve your form by filming it and watching it back and making sure that you're controlling the weight, and just overload. Now, eventually you'll hit a wall with that, which is why you log it down on paper, and then you can look back past the past 6 weeks and go, right, what's going well, what isn't? And if it's been the same for 6 weeks, maybe you need to swap it for something else. Maybe you need to slow it down. Maybe you need to change your workout routine. Either way, it just needs to be clear and easy to follow. There's nothing wrong with a pull push legs. Back and biceps are chest, shoulders, and triceps, and a leg workout. Okay, if you can do 2 days per week, you can do an upper body, lower body, or you can do full body twice. It just needs to be something you can stick to, that you progressively advance with. And then if you're pairing that with a slight calorie deficit and your protein is high enough and sufficient enough, you're in a deficit that's not too low, so you'll lose fat, not muscle. And because the protein's high and the demand for muscle in the gym and adaptation and lifestyle wise, you can still gain muscle if you're new to the gym. Newbie gains. Maybe your genetics aren't that bad. Maybe you still gain muscle. Some guys won't gain muscle. I'll be honest, you might need to do a recomposition to keep the muscle, lose the fat, and then once you're lean enough, do a reverse diet and build your calories back up to your new maintenance because you've gained a bit of size and strength, and then go on to a lean bulk. Yes, a lean bulk, not a massive bulk. I've done the dirty bulks. I was naive, eat big to get big, right, babe? And I just got fat every time. And then I'd go on a cut and it would take 10 times longer than I thought. And I'd always look the same, if not worse by the end of it. I thought, am I just adding fat and losing fat? And that's basically what I was doing. The bigger the surplus does not mean the bigger the gains. Yes, on the scales, because you're going up in weight, right? There's fat as well. There's only so much muscle your body's going to turn those calories into. So the surplus should also be small, 300, 400, 500. Weigh yourself, review it. If you're not growing, add some calories. Do you know what I mean? It's very simple, really. The fitness industry is just overcooked with people making things up, and that's on purpose. I'm in some marketing groups that are like, yes, guys, you got to make it sound new. And I know people that are going from like, yeah, calories are the best way, and their clients get great results. And then because they're not popular enough, they're like making things up. And like, actually, it's nothing to do with the food. It's all about the hormones, guys. Look, what about your microbiomes? Like, everyone just likes to make things up to stand out. I'm here telling you the boring reality. I'm not going to get a lot of views. I frankly don't care. I'm here to give you what works. And if you follow what I say and it works, I'll be happy. In a nutshell, if you're skinny fat, recomposition is the best way to go because it helps you get lean whilst improving strength, size, and performance. And by the end of it, you can reverse diet and add more size if you need it. And if you're lean at the start, you can do a longer lean bulk because you're lean, so you're not going to gain all the fat back really quickly. And if you get a little bit fluffy in that, you can go right back to the recomp again. Basically growing and tidying it up as you go along. This has worked for me tremendously well. I'll put up a transformation picture over here. That's what I get my clients to do. It's worked tremendously well. The success rate is bloody brilliant. I basically never have a client fail because this is so simple. Obviously, I don't work with everyone. If someone wants to work with me, I'd like to get to know them first because it is one-on-one. But bottom line is, if you follow that strategy, I'm confident that will work for for you because I've seen it happen 216 times, technically 217 if I count my own transformation. I really hope this video helps. And if it has, make sure you hit like, comment apple for the algorithm or pineapple for the protein. There's not really any protein in a pineapple. But yeah, and if you want a bit more direction and instructions, watch one of these videos over here and subscribe if you're skinny fat. I should say all this at the beginning. You can tell I'm not good at YouTube, but you know, the message is clear, isn't it? That's what I'm here for, the message. And you can follow me on Instagram at Elite Transformation Project.